This is going to be my review of The Producers for the SourceFed NERD Movie Club. The Producers is a musical written by Mel Brooks. The original version starred Gene Wilder and Zero Mostel as the token characters. The version that we are watching is a remake and is starring Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane. My main thought is that I really want to get my hands on the original version and watch the one with Gene Wilder because I did not like this. I understand that it's kind of meant to be cheesy and campy and making fun of itself a little bit, but I didn't enjoy this. It doesn't seem like anybody in the film is really into it. Aside from Matthew Broderick and Nathan Lane, the film also stars Uma Thurman and Will Ferrell. There are a few other people in it that I recognized, but that's the main cast. Uma Thurman plays the love interest, and Will Ferrell plays the German who writes the play. The plot's fairly simple. Max, which is played by Nathan Lane, is a Broadway producer, and he sucks at his job. The story starts with the opening night, which is also the closing night of his latest show. He is pretty much washed up and down on his luck, and is also kind of a creep. Enter Matthew Broderick, who plays Leo, the accountant. And after a very weird, awkward interaction between the two of them, they decide to be producers for the worst show in history because, according to the numbers that Leo comes up with in his accounting brain, there is more money to be made by a horrible show than an excellent one. And so they attempt to produce the worst show in history. Uma Thurman's character just kind of enters in along the way. She's this very beautiful Swedish girl, and I think she's there for eye candy. I don't know. I didn't find her very committed to the character. It was a little bit funny, but whatever. The show that they end up choosing to produce is called Springtime for Hitler, and it is a production that's meant to show the good side of Hitler. The show is written by Franz, who is played by Will Ferrell, and is, on the whole, probably the best part of the show. His acting is a little bit outrageous and hilarious. The character has all these passenger pigeons that he takes care of on the rooftop of his building. He wears lederhosen and a German helmet and is kind of goofy but endearing and a little off-putting and weird. He's pretty much the best part for me. So they produce this show, and opening night, the show starts, and people automatically become offended very quickly because the content is very much glorifying Hitler, and the time that this takes place, that's a no-no, as it kind of is in general. But the main tenor in the show is John Barrowman, and I love this man. Who freaking doesn't? And probably the highlight of the whole thing for me was seeing John Barrowman in this show that I wasn't enjoying. Among the circumstances that are weird in this film, the man who's meant to play Hitler in the show breaks his leg, and the director, who's super gay, ends up playing Hitler. After the first few people leave because they're offended by the glorifying of Hitler, Hitler himself comes out, and he is super flamboyant, and people think it's a farce. They think that the show is meant to tease at the whole context, and they end up loving it. But because the show is meant to bomb, this is really unfortunate for Max and Leo, and they end up in a heap of trouble. That's pretty much the plot. The songs don't blow me away. I think the best musical number was in Leo's accounting office. I think it was called I Want to Be a Producer, and there's the rhythmic movement from the other accountants in the office saying unhappy, I think. That was probably the best number, but seeing John Barrowman was probably the best part for me. I never really attached to the characters. I really don't believe that any of the actors truly committed to it. I don't really know why it was remade. I do really want to try and get my hands on the Gene Wilder version because I adore Gene Wilder. He is so bizarre. Between Young Frankenstein and Willy Wonka, he has the potential to be amazing in this show, and I wonder if the show is better in its original form. For me, basically, having a history with enjoying musicals in their massive variety, from everything on stage to Disney films, musicals have the potential to grab a hold of your heart and connect you to the characters, and I really don't feel like this show did. I think that there are way better musicals out there, and I just want to say that if you're not really a fan of musicals and you tried this show as like reaching out of your comfort zone, please try something else. This does not represent the range of musicals, and there are incredible shows out there to watch. But I guess that's it. Thanks for watching. I will see you all later.
You just watched Stephanie talk. Don't forget to tell her what you thought. Share and